Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 25 of Minnesota Wild Be a GM on NHL 21 Dynasty Central Sports. Thank you for joining us on this episode as we are now in the offseason, technically, for the Minnesota Wild as we finished up the season outside of the playoffs. And so we're going to be simming to the draft. We're going to come over a bunch of stuff throughout the offseason, retired players, coaches leaving, whatnot, free agents. And then we're going to hit the draft. And this draft is going to be a little bit different. Did get an offer to stay as the GM of the team. Of course, I'm going to accept that deal, mainly because I want to be on the Wild team. I want to be finish my journey as the GM of this team. And the Carolina Hurricanes secure the Stanley Cup as they win is a big one. Colorado gets the first overall pick with Montreal, Vegas, Los Angeles, Washington, Anaheim, Detroit, New York Rangers, and then we stay at the 9th overall pick. So we're going to stick into the first round as the 9th overall pick. And like I said, we are going to jump into this draft in this episode. Jason SPEZZA does retire, and Corey Perry, Alex Steen, Louis Eriksson, Valtteri Filppula, Franz Nielsen, Troy Brouwer, Blake Como, Carl Soderberg are the top free agents or players that have retired in this league. Brad Richardson, Abelkader, Reed, Beagle, Peter Mueller, wow. Ryan Miller, Craig Anderson, a lot of old names going off the board as retired players. We're going to have the whole draft. I keep getting interrupted. We got coaches' retirement. I don't give a fuck. We got the whole draft in this episode, and we're going to have every one of our picks, the first 5 picks overall. No highlights, but I'm not excited about this draft. I'm going to talk about why, and we're just going to enter this draft and focus on the free agency as well in the next episode. I think free agency is just a little bit more, too much of this episode to add on to it, so we're just going to go with free agency next episode and then jump into the first month of the next season. In next episode, we're going over the individual awards for the season, and Robert Backstrom does secure the Calder Memorial Trophy for the top rookie in his first season, and that is a big one as he's the first Minnesota Wild player to ever win the Calder Trophy. And a major trophy in the NHL, as the Minnesota Wild just never really had a player that stuck out like that. And Robert Backstrom in this league, in this series, is our top one, but in real life, Kirill Kaprizov just was the first Calder Trophy winner in for the Minnesota Wild. So it's kind of apropos and nice to see how real life and this league mirror each other, even though it's Robert Backstrom to Kirill Kaprizov. We're going to enter the draft now, and like I said, this draft does not really excite me. Looking over the scouting board and who we could be having at the 9th overall pick, so I will be actively trying to think about trading my first overall pick, the 9th overall pick, first round pick, and I will be actively trading that. So I'm going to be looking at one of these top teams that is looking to rebuild a little bit, and the Colorado Avalanche being at number 1. I got some info on the trade block that Nathan MacKinnon is on the number 1 trade block, but that is not a person that I'm looking to add to my team, really, even though he is one of the top players in this in this league. Nathan MacKinnon is in a position that I have secured for the future. And so I will be looking at Colorado, though, to maybe pick up one of their defensemen. Simon Edvinsson is their top defenseman, but they do have Kel, also one of the best offensive young defensemen in this league. And maybe I could make a trade out for him. I'm going to actively try to make that first offer and see if I can get him over to the Minnesota Wild. That would be incredible to add someone like Cale Makar to our defense. But taking a look at the top 5 best players in this draft, the Colorado Avalanche are on the first overall pick. Lati is the 5th best defenseman in this draft, Lati. And now the pick is in for the Avalanche, and they are going to go with Tommy Doan, the 6'3", 200-pound shooting left winger out of North Bay, out of the OHL. And he is the son of Shane Doan. He's a playmaking winger who has a lot of potential on top of him. He has got a straight up a fantastic build, 88 speed, good strength. He's a good offensive player, but he loves to make plays, make his teammates better, and he's definitely one of those players to add into a system if you're going to rebuild. The Montreal Canadiens are on the clock at the number 2 pick overall, and currently they are still rebuilding, and I don't know really where they could go. There's a lot of good players in this draft, but not a lot of players that are jumping out as number 1, number 2. That's why Tommy Doan was maybe a site idea of maybe could go number 1, but the pick is in for the Canadiens. Let's see who they select, and it's going to be Pearson, the grinding left winger, Howard Pearson. He shoots left. He's a left winger, 6'1", 199. He is 17 years old, just squeaks past that birthday cutoff date. He's 39 goals, 45 assists, and he puts on the grit, 56 penalty minutes. He is a good, fantastic player. He grinds the game, but he is definitely not a player I would have selected maybe 2nd overall. Probably would have been maybe a 4th or a 5th overall type of player, but we'll see how he does down the long term. And the Vegas Golden Knights are still rebuilding that roster that came out full bore out of the expansion draft, and now are hitting that contract wall, and the pick is in. They have their pick is in. Let's see who they select at the 3rd overall pick, and it's Guy Audette, the two-way forward right winger, shoots right, 6'3", 202 out of the QMJHL. 28 goals last season, 42 assists, 35 penalty minutes. He's elite medium. He's a good 71 overall winger. And Vegas Golden Knights are adding another elite player into their system. He's got good speed at 88. He's a little light on his agility, though, and his endurance needs to be built up at 70s, both of them. 60 offensive shot blocking, so he's not really a defensive winger. But then the Los Angeles Kings select Lati, the top defenseman in the draft, 6'5", 204, shoots right, elite medium, only got a goal and 11 assists last season, but he played in the top league in Finland, and then he moved over and played a couple games in the top league in Sweden as well. He's a two-way defender. He's a fantastic build and a good addition to that defensive line for the Kings. The Washington Capitals are going to select Ken Wiseman, the elite medium shooting left winger, 6 foot tall, 191 pounds, 42 goals, 54 assists in the OHL for Mississauga. He is a sniper, and I definitely think that Kenny Wiseman could have been number 1 overall if Tommy Doan just didn't have that it factor that really drew the Colorado Avalanche to selecting him first overall. And really on the block, we have Turakov, Connolly, Solani, Sutton, Fitz, Åkerlund, and Erzberg that could be in the next couple picks. But really, like I said, these players aren't really enticing me. I don't really see them as someone that I could go out and be happy with adding them to our prospect pool. So I'm going to try to use this pick as trade bait, and I'm going to use it, and we're going to add this pick, number 9 overall. Let's add a prospect defenseman because we have a stockpile of young defensive prospects that I want to throw out there. I could always throw out one of these top players now, but really I still want to win. I want to get some goals. I want to have a good defense going forward. So let's move a prospect since we do have a big cupboard full of good defensive prospects. Philip Johansson, I could move him, but he's on a 1-year contract and he's going to be a RFA or a UFA, I believe. RFA, I think. And so let's add Jeremy Biaka-Batuka. He's a top defenseman, top 6 defenseman. Bowen Byram, Simon Edvinson, and Kel McCarr is in there. Samuel Girard is a little too old. So let's offer for Kel McCarr $5 million, 3 years, elite medium, young defenseman, and they are going to accept that. They're moving off.
Now that was unexpected.
And he's coming over to the Minnesota Wild for the 9th overall pick, and Jeremy Biaka-Batuka going to the Colorado Avalanche. It is actually a very shocking that they took the first offer that I sent to him. I thought I would have to maybe send in a second round pick maybe, but I'm grabbing Kel McCarr to be that top defenseman on our blue line now. I'm very excited about that. Let's see who the Avalanche select at the 9th overall pick, and it's going to be Dwight Sutton, the left winger. He's a playmaker, elite medium, 10 goals, 8 assists last season, 15 penalty minutes, 57 games played. And where did he play? He played actually over in Europe. He's a Canadian that has actually a passport in Denmark, and then he also played in Sweden as well. Played all over there, and he is a good playmaking winger. And like the Avalanche are really building up on a playmaking wing side, so they just took 2 playmaking left wingers in the first 10 picks in this draft. It's an interesting draft build, but you know what? We're going to move on to our second round pick, 9th overall. Like I said, we're just going to be moving to our picks from now on, and we're going to move a couple more picks. I think I want to move a couple more picks down the line. John Visentin is in my my scouts really like him. They're tabbing him as a gem prospect, 3 years ETA. But I'm really not wanting to add another center into our system. I like this Morrison, who my scouts didn't even pick up. Smirnoff is a guy I might look at as well as an elite defenseman. But we're going to take Steve Morrison, 65 overall in the second round, elite low. 2 goals, 3 assists, and 46 games played over in Austria. He played in Austria last season, 6'3", 200 pounds, shoots left winger. I like his build. He's, I believe, a power forward. He has good speed at 88, good a physical play. He's a good fighter. He's a good defensive awareness. His offensive awareness is pretty shitty, but he's good discipline. Puck handling is good. Passing is pretty shitty. Hand-eye is pretty good. And look at those shooting skills, except for wrist shot power is pretty shitty. But 93s all around. I'm pretty happy about that. See what Steve Morrison can do. We're going to try to move our other second round pick. No, I don't think so. I actually want to add this pick and add in that player that I was looking at, Smirnoff. I want to add another defenseman into this draft, and I like this Sergei Smirnoff. He's a left defenseman, 6'2", 211 pound, 19 years old, so he's a little older. 8 goals, 8 assists last season. He played in the KHL. He's a Kazakhstan-born defenseman, but he's actually ETA of 2 years, elite low potential, and he's 67 overall. We took him with that pick. Elite low. 8 goals, 8 assists, like I said, 6'2", 211, 67 overall defensive defenseman. Look at that discipline, 93. He has 97 shot blocks.
That's nice.
Offensive awareness, 90. Strength, 94. Holy shit, 87 endurance. His defensive awareness is not really that good for a defensive defenseman, but still 75, not too bad. And I like his build. It's kind of weird. Interesting to see. And we're going to try to trade some of our third round picks. We got 2 third-round picks, and then we got a 7th-round pick. We're going to move Mirko Mueller and Kaapo Kakkonen to the Buffalo Sabres for their first-round pick next season. So maybe they'll suck next season and we get a high pick because it is the Buffalo Sabres. We're going to move on from Kaapo Kakkonen. We're going to move up Hunter Jones next season. And unfortunately, Kaapo Kakkonen is going to move on. Mirko Mueller did not have a long season. And in our next pick, we're going to have Nico Purjeta, a Finnish winger, 6'3", 214, 18 years old, had no points last season, but he only played 3 games last season in the SM Liga in Finland. He's a power forward. We're adding some meat and potatoes, some lunch pail type of players to our system. I like this, even though the draft isn't very strong and it didn't really jump out to me as a draft that I really liked. Nico Purjeta and some of these prospects that did come out, I saved those picks for where I think I could have gotten them. I did have some other selections that I could have picked, but I did go with my gut, go with Nico. I like his build. He's a little solid build of a 5th round pick, not too bad. I think he doesn't really have a huge potential, but he could eventually be a good player in the AHL. I'm always looking to find good young players in the AHL as well. And maybe, whatever. He signs with us and he jumps ahead and he's, in the NHL next couple, down the line.
Smoke more weed, Turtle.
Anyways, our last pick in the 6th round is going to be at the 9th overall pick. I'm really just going off the board. I'm probably going to pick a guy that I saw him in the scouting ranks, and I think his picture just like jumped out at me, and his name, Roberto Mancini. Look at those specs. I love him. He's a 60 overall, 5 goals, 6 assists last season, 42 penalty minutes. He's a left defenseman, right defenseman, 6'2", 191 pounds, he's 19 years old, 2-way defenseman. His build is solid. He's 85 durability, good shooting of slap shot and wrist shot, discipline solid, and good skating ability, not too bad. But I drafted him for the name Roberto Mancini, and I love the specs, bro. Looking good. And that is our draft. Steve Morrison, Sergei Smirnov, we got Nico Perrietta, and we got Roberto Mancini. This is an overview of the draft, and we are going to be finishing up from this area. Take a look at all these players and all the, where they were selected. If you care, we did get 2 picks in the 2nd round, and thank you for watching this episode. Check us out for this next episode. It's going to be free agency and the start of next season in Minnesota Wild. Smash like down below, hit subscribe, and throw us a comment. Love to hear from anyone that's checking out this series, and thank you for the support on Dynasty Central Sports. We will see you later.